But anyway, I'm the Radio 2 gardener, rather strange occupation. And I'm the gardener that's heard but very rarely seen. I presume you're all looking here confused. Who's this Terry Walton from Radio 2? But you all know Jeremy Vine. You all know Darren Titchmarsh. Well, I'm about down there in that scale, so that's probably why you've heard of me. But I've been gardening on my current allotments now for over 50 years, on the same allotment. So I've been on allotment since I was 2-year-old, and I've been doing it 50 years, but I'm a few years older than that. But when I started off gardening was the famous word organic. We never understood what the hell organic meant in the late 50s, early 60s, because it was something we did naturally. We collected all the natural ingredients. We collected manure from the stables, which was where the pit ponies were kept. We collect bracken off the side of the hill, and we used lots of mushroom compost, and that was the only way of enriching the soil. So we were organic. But we all got misled in the early 60s. Along came chemicals, all these nasty things, and all these nasty insecticides, and we all got, all this allotment here got lopped into this thing where we could grow things easily by throwing on fertilizers, dusting everything with insecticides like DDT, and we killed everything in sight. But we very quickly learned, but after a few years of this, all the scares come out, and I then saw the light, if you like, and I went back in the late 1960s to being organic. So I've been gardening almost 40 years now, completely organic. And this is how we got together with sort of Wigglies at one stage, because as an organic gardener, you're always looking for something extra in your armoury to make things grow. And Heather came along and we did a podcast together, and I got presented with a wormery, and I found that one of the most fantastic things on the plot. I now got gallons of wormweed, which feeds all my stuff. I now make about 13 or 14 bags of compost a year, which saves money, which all allotmenteers always want to do. And along came this fantastic bokashi. I thought it was a bad Japanese with a bad cold when she said, "Do you want a bokashi?" But I brought along the bokashi, and that's a great compost maker. So all the soil is getting enriched more and more. I don't know if anybody ever saw it, but over the years, I've not only done radio, but for several years, at my peak of my career, which was about 3 years ago, we did a series of shows for BBC Two called The Big Dig, where we did 10 one-hour shows, which went out around the country. But we also locally, do you pick up HTV in this part of the world? No, you've been over the border here. Anyway, we did a series of 8 shows for HTV in Cardiff for the Welsh network. And it was called appropriately Going to Seed. And we were 5 old guys on the allotments. We were the equivalent of the Welsh Last of the Summer Wine, where they filmed us doing these various acts. And this is where I learned something tremendously about life and about gardening in general. Never, ever be afraid to listen to advice and take it on board. And they paid us to do these 8 half-an-hour shows. This is how rich gardening is on the television. £150 between the 5 of us. So we were almost thinking of retiring from gardening and hanging up our boots, but we couldn't afford to. So we decided very wisely we weren't going to waste this £150. We went out and bought a racehorse between the 5 of us, which we thought was a fantastic investment. We went down to Cowbridge Horse Sales, we bought this horse for £150. And we thought, whatever else happens, we own a racehorse. We're all organic gardeners. We're at least going to get a bag of manure each a week. So we're on a winner, whatever happens. Anyway, this guy, a local trainer, had this racehorse, and he said, "Boys," he said, "I'm entering this in a local point-to-point next Saturday afternoon. A little local jockey, you want to come along?" He said, "See your horse run, and he might win a few pounds." Anyway, we thought, this is a great opportunity, there'd be a lot of horses there, 40 bags in 2 cars in the boot. We got 40 bags of manure to start with, and this horse went off. Anyway, we won this point-to-point now, and we had £10 prize money back. So we had £10 and 40 bags of manure. That's ecstasy for a allotment gardener. And about 2 weeks later, he said, "I'm entering a bigger point-to-point now in Penturk," he said. "This is a big meeting. There'll be a lot of horses there. Bring a trailer." So we brought a trailer, and we had loads of manure, and this horse won £20. So then a couple of weeks later, he said, "No more point-to-point for this. He's good enough to run at Chepstow," he said. So we steeplechase at Chepstow. So we hired a big truck, and we went off to Chepstow because there's plenty of horses, and we're going to get at least a truck of manure. But this horse went off, and he won a steeplechase, and we had £300 back. A couple of weeks later, back to Chepstow, same event again, another £300 back. He said, "Boys, there's no point in entering this horse in these low fields. He's good enough to win the Grand National." And we paid £150 for this horse. He's going to win the Grand National. So we all geared up now to go to Aintree. He said, "But hang on," he said, "before you go there," he said, "you're going to have to spend a lot of money on a jockey who's ridden the Grand National course before. So you're going to have to spend some money." So, okay, no problem. We'll have a great day out. Off we'll go to Aintree. We'll take a Padfields removal van. We can fill that with manure to come back. Or the worst we're going to get down when we enter and have a great day out. So we got to Aintree. And we're in the saddling enclosure, and down comes the jockey, won 4 Grand Nationals, so he goes up to our trainer. The trainer calls him over. He said, look, one tip riding this horse, he said, when you go around the Grand National course, when he comes to a fence, lean forward, tap him twice on the shoulder, and say, up and over, up and over. He looked at him a bit sleepy now. He said, don't forget, that's very important advice with this horse, he said. He's talking to these other jockeys, and he said, one thing of that trainer, he said, came up from South Wales. He said, I've ridden 4 Grand National runners. He's never entered an horse in a Grand National before, and he's telling me to talk this horse over the fences. So up goes the gate, now off he goes, little tap of the whip, comes towards the first fence, and he pulls back on the reins. Straight into the fence, the horse goes, not a foot off the ground, straight for the fence, and he's hanging on for grim death. He thought, good God, what's wrong with this horse? So he comes to the next fence, he said, I'll have him this time. And he really jerks him back on these reins, not a foot off the ground, smack through the second fence. He thought, oh God, there's 30 more fences to go, and no way am I going to stay on, and now the other horses are miles in front of me. So he comes up to the third fence, and he leans forward, and he goes, up and over. The horse come up, over this fence he went. He did this now, going around all these courses, and he was catching up with the rest of the field rapidly, you know. He came to the elbow coming in, and he was only one horse in front of him. Little tap of the whip, whoomp, won by a short head. £30,000 we'd now won on this horse, and we'd had tons and tons of manure. The garden never looked so good. So we rushed down now with the jockeys jumping back off the horse. We all embraced him, and we were all over the moon. The trainer's standing there, glum as can be. So the jockey gets off, and he said, over he walks, he said, tell me, he said, did you listen to my advice? He said, what happened to those first 2 fences? I don't know, he said. The horse must be going a bit deaf. Oh, God, don't tell me that. He said he's been blind for 2 years. But again, another little thing about having an allotment. Allotment is you a little bit of pleasure, you a little bit of acre of ground which you can do what you want with. And there are no, in most allotments which are properly run, there are no rules. You can grow what you want to, how you want to, as you want to. And there's a great change in the allotment movement since I started. When I went in, I took my first plot when I was 11-year-old. And this was in the Rhondda Valley, which was male-dominated miners. And the average age of an allotment holder was 65. And when I first went into this allotment, they all stood at about 6'2". And in those days, they gardened in a 3-piece suit, including the waistcoat, a white shirt and a tie and a die cap. And they all stood about 6'2", and I was petrified. So when I got my first plot, they all sort of thought, he'd be here 5 minutes, he won't last long, this 11-year-old. Anyway, they're all gone, and I'm still there 50 years later. But one thing about allotment gardening is that the advice you get was phenomenal. Once they accepted me after 3 or 4 months and see I was enjoying it and going to do it, I was inundated, and I learned about 2,000 years of gardening information in those first few months. And that stood me in good stead, and all the gardening I've learned has been through that. But one thing I've also learned in there is only grow what you want to. And we get a lot of younger families coming in now, which is fantastic for the allotment movement, and it's great to see them there. But I was planting Brussels sprouts 2 years ago. I was putting them in late April into the ground. And this young couple came in, and they said, what are you doing, Terry? I said, I'm planting some Brussels sprouts. God, they look good-looking plants. He said, you don't have any spare, do you? And in the allotment world, there's always lots of plants spare. So I give them half a dozen plants. So off they went, happy as Larry. Over to they planted these 6 plants. And I was coming back about October now. I was just starting to harvest the first of my sprouts. And over he comes, and he says to me, Terry, he said, do you want a few sprouts? He said, because they've done really well. Like, do you want a few sprouts? I thought, that's bloody nice of him, you know. He's actually bringing me some back for actually giving the plants. No, I said, he got broads, take them home and enjoy them. We don't like them, he said. So never look a gift for you. Look the gift horse and your mouse from time to time, because sometimes you'll end up actually doing what you don't want to do. But one thing about gardening, it's not all about the work. I mean, I go up there every single day I'm home. I'm not allowed to go Christmas Day anymore. I used to go up on Christmas morning. The lads would be in the greenhouse with a couple of beers, and you'd never go home. Because I used to gather my vegetables Christmas morning for Christmas dinner. But every other time you're up there, and it's not about work. It's a real social community. You know, I'm going to be a bit political for 2 minutes now. The situation is in the country. They spend fortune. There's all this thing about obesity and getting people fit and wasting money on national health. Yet they won't spend a few £1,000s to create some of this derelict land around the country into allotments. Because one thing about allotments, you get out there, you get a bit of gentle exercise. It's not about hard work. People who say to me, oh, I won't do that, it's hard work, and you're doing the right thing, because if it's hard work, don't do it. It's all about enjoying yourself, and it's not hard work if you're enjoying yourself. But it's a social community. People who live on their own, who want friendship, come along, on every little shed and every little greenhouse, they've got his own little stove, his own little social community. We have solved more United Nations problems on that allotments than anywhere has ever been done in New York. But nobody ever listened to us because we talk common sense. And the situation is we have a great time then. It's all about going up and thoroughly enjoying the life. And again, I'm great to see this company like Wrigley's who come along, and it's a great change in the whole atmosphere in the last 15, 20 years on allotments, where people now want to grow good, wholesome food in a good, wholesome manner. And to do that, you need all the harmony that's going around. There's also a great move these days to actually putting barriers up as opposed to spraying, and actually using other plants to attract beneficial insects to keep the other pests at bay. So it's great to see this organic growth within the sort of gardening world. And I think people who do that, and it's not only just the organic that makes it great, it's the fact that you can harvest a crop in the morning and you're eating it the same day, and you're eating it at the peak of perfection. When you go along to supermarkets and you see this stuff in these poly bags, absolutely pristine, looking beautiful, but it's been grown in some weird aesthetic manner. It's probably taken 10 to 15 days to get to where it's going to go, so it's already at the end of its life. If you go out and grow it yourself, and it's a great movement within people with any bits of ground, I've got a great plan going on. I want to eradicate most of the lawns in the UK and get them into vegetable plots, and that's my next crusade. So that's the next good thing we're going to work on, is getting rid of these, and everybody can grow their own. I don't care how big your garden is, you've only got a small patio area, you can set up a small tub, you can set up a small pot, and you can grow something. And I think once you've actually done that, and you've tasted the freshness of it, then you will never ever go back to buying supermarket food again. So, get out there and do it. So we got a little time to get these 11. Can I have 11 volunteers now? Can I have 11 volunteers up, to help me out with this little garden, little allotmenteers song, which I'd written especially for this occasion. Come on, Heather, get them all up there. Right. Come on, this is easy. Come on, easy. Come on in. Come on, you wigglers. Come on, you wigglers. Right. You are number 2. You are number 3. You are number 4. This is easy. I'll give you a quick demonstration. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. That's 8. That's 9. That's 10. 3, 6, 9. Come on, 2 more quickly. We can't do it without you. We need you here. We need you here. Come on, 2 up here. There we are. Squeeze in a bit then. Squeeze in, and I'll give you a quick thing of what you're going to do now. We have got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Here we are. You 11. You were 12. Right? You were the 4th. All right. Got it. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7, so you singing 7, singing 8, singing 9, singing 10, singing 11, singing 12. When you sung your line, and we work in back this way, you then join in with a whole lot that's going that way, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, when, are you all in good tune now, then? Shall we have a key? Right, have you got us all in? On the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a bramley in an apple tree.
On the second day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 2 garlic cloves
and a bramley in an apple tree.
On the third day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 3 French beans,
2 garlic cloves and a bramley in an apple tree.
On the 4th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 4 cauliflowers,
3 French beans, 2 garlic cloves and a bramley in an apple tree.
On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 5 Brussels sprouts,
4 cauliflowers, 3 French beans, 2 garlic cloves and a bramley in an apple tree.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 6 sweet corn swaying,
5 Brussels sprouts, 4 cauliflowers, 3 French beans, 2 garlic cloves and a bramley in an apple tree.
On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 7 tomatoes ripening,
6 sweet corn swaying, 5 Brussels sprouts, 4 cauliflowers, 3 French French beans, 2 garlic cloves, and a brown bee in an apple tree.
On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love said to me, 8 turnips turning,
7 tomatoes ripening, 6 sweet corn swaying, 5 Brussels sprouts, 4 cauliflowers, 3 French beans, 2 garlic cloves, and a brown bee in an apple tree.
On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 9 carrots cavorting,
8 turnips turning, 7 tomatoes ripening, 6 sweet corn swaying, 5 Brussels sprouts, 4 cauliflowers, 3 French beans, 2 garlic cloves, and a brown bee in an apple tree.
On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 10 leeks a leaping,
9 carrots cavorting, 8 turnips turning, 7 tomatoes ripening, 6 sweet corn swaying, 5 Brussels sprouts, 4 cauliflowers, 3 French beans, 2 garlic cloves, and a brown bee in an apple tree.
On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 11 big potatoes,
10 leeks a leaping, 9 carrots cavorting, 8 turnips turning, 7 tomatoes ripening, 6 sweet corn swaying, 5 Brussels sprouts, 4 cauliflowers, 3 French beans, 2 garlic cloves, and a brown bee in an apple tree.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 12 perfect parsnips,
11 big potatoes, 10 leeks a leaping, 9 carrots cavorting, 8 turnips turning, 7 tomatoes ripening, 6 sweet corn swaying, 5 Brussels sprouts, 4 cauliflowers, 3 French beans, 2 garlic cloves, and a brown bee